Many thanks for choosing us. The Special Prosecutor, Aisha Ibrahim, has been accused of deploying tactics geared at delaying court processes. This accusation is coming from lawyers for former Secretary of the defunct Inter-Ministerial Committee on Illegal Mining, Charles BISSUE. Mr. BISSUE, who was filmed in an investigative documentary allegedly receiving bribes, is in court seeking to stop the Special Prosecutor from prosecuting him. He contends he was exonerated of the accusation by the police and cannot be investigated against. Court correspondent Joseph Akable was in court and has filed this report.
Lawyers for the Office of Special Prosecutor have filed documents indicating a conditional appearance. Now, this means that they have some protests that they intend to register about the process that have been filed by lawyers for Charles BISSUE, and that they did indicate to the court that they will be making arguments urging the courts to dismiss this particular matter because of the concerns that they have. There was also the presence of a lawyer who represented Tiger Eye Private Investigation, the firm that carried out the investigations, as well as lawyers for the journalist Anas Arimi or Anas. Now, those two entities have also indicated that they've not been served with the documents that have been filed, and so the court did indicate that it's going to adjourn the matter for all those documents to be filed. But lawyers for Mr. BISSUE, led by Nanaje Bafuewa, had some concerns, and that was to the effect that they were hoping that the process that have been filed by the Special Prosecutor specifically were not a case of playing tricks or engaging in some malice of sort, or geared at delaying the process that had been filed, specifically the injunction, the one asking the courts to restrain the Special Prosecutor from investigating and prosecuting Charles BISSUE. And so the court did indicate, and two comments from the Office of the Special Prosecutor, where the legal practitioner did indicate that they will argue forcefully and lead evidence where relevant to show that this is a matter that should be dismissed and that the Special Prosecutor should be allowed to carry out its investigation and prosecution of Charles BISSUE. The matter is back in court on February 6, 2023. For JoyNews from the Law Courts Complex, my name is Joseph Akable.
A 26-year-old man, Azuma Razak, has drowned in the Galamsey pit at Kwawu of Ramase in the Kwawu West Municipality of the Eastern Region. Family of the deceased, however, suspect he was murdered. Speaking in an interview with our sister station Adom News, some relatives of the deceased explained the remains of their beloved looked as though it had been used for human sacrifice. The family is therefore demanding that the perpetrator of the alleged murder is brought to justice. The unfortunate incident has led to unrest in the community. According to the youth authorities, including the chief, are to be blamed for the illegal mining activities in the community. The youth destroyed some property of the illegal miners and have asked them to leave the community. Chief of Kwawu of Ramase, Nana Efrifayamwa, has pleaded with the youth in the community to keep calm rather than resort to any violence. He says investigations will be carried out by authorities to ascertain the truth. The Pensioners Bondholders Forum is asking government to exclude their funds from the debt exchange program. Michael Papania-Shale has more in this report. We apologize for the freeze in video, but we'll rather bring you the convener of that forum, Senor Jose, who says government is being insensitive by including individual bondholders into its debt exchange program. Speaking on PM Express last night, he warned government to reverse its decision or face their wrath.
It took us a long while for us to get people to even start the savings culture. No economy grows without building your savings. Solo growth model, it's basic economics. If you don't know it, go and read it. All right? You can't also do that without the productivity of your people. Your people are being productive. Your people are now learning how to turn around and bring in savings. And then you just wish it away. Pensioners are calling. It is good that Anani is here. All right? Our former SEC boss. They are calling. People are just crying because They depend on this for their BP medication, for a lot of their medications. And they need that routine income. People have lost their jobs, like you just said. And it's not just about the banking crisis. Today, the economy is tough. Things are hard. Businesses are struggling. So we are laying people off. And you're coming to individuals who you have cut their hair. And now they are ahead. One, you increase taxes. What has happened to your income? Your disposable income has reduced. Two, now, a lot of your family friends are losing their jobs. Now they have to share their income with you because you have to send Momo here. What's your disposable income? Gone. Now you chop this one. You've brought in new taxes. You've chopped all this. And in addition, now you are saying that the one that I even saved to try and even pay my children's school fees, use this as the basis to sustain some part of my livelihood. That one too, you are digging your hand deep into it. And at the same time that you are doing it, you are living large. It's like somebody owns you and deciding to buy a Lamborghini and flaunt it in your face. You don't have the money. Cut your coat according to the size of your cloth. I was said the last time with what's his name, Joe Jackson, and went over this. And I told that it is coming. Because what we are having is not sustainable. But we don't have the humility, we don't have the sense of responsibility as policymakers to actually take the hard decisions that we vote you into power for. We vote you we queue to vote you and give you power for you to come and impact our lives constructively. We give you mandate, we give you our taxes. After that, you abuse it, you misuse it, you mismanage it, and you come back to us and say, pay more taxes. We pay the taxes. And after that, you come back and say, now, give me your savings. But still, I'm going to be riding my V8. I'm still going to be flying my business class. I'm still going to be keeping my SOEs are increased from 86 to 177 with very little to nothing to show for it. We have increased public sector compensation by 308%. So you want me to pay for that lifestyle that you want to have to fulfill your own political and whatever it is. But yes, still, you now want to come and chop my savings, my investments that I just use to sustain my family. Master, why? Why do individuals and Ghanaians always have to be at the raw end of the misdealings of politicians? I think we've had enough. They always keep creating a mess, and when they create a mess, they come to ask for us to pay. And we've been doing it. You run down Tor, you come and say, let's pay debt recovery levy. You run down the energy sector, you come and say, let's pay energy sector levies act. You mismanage what they call the GET fund, and the next minute you say we should do dirty bonds, and we all have to pay for it. You keep messing up every time, and every time Ghanaians will always have to come and pay. Now we are paying with our taxes. You want us to pay with our savings? How insensitive can you be?
A former presiding member of the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly has lauded the thoughts of former Trade and Industry Minister Alan Kyerematen to downsize the number of ministers when he gets the opportunity to lead the country. Abraham Boydi is a member of the ruling MPP. He describes the ministries of Transport and Aviation as unnecessary and a waste of resources. Meanwhile, the NDC considers Alan's comment as vindication of abuse of power by the Akufo-Addo administration.
The size of the Akufo-Addo government has been criticized by some civil society groups and political analysts as being too large. But calls for the president to downsize his ministers have yet to be heeded. Former Trades Minister Alan Kyerematen, in a speech to declare his intent to lead NPP, said he will reduce the size of government when he is given the nod as flag bearer and subsequently as president.
Downsizing government. The architecture of government will be overhauled by consolidating some existing ministries, departments, and agencies. This would mean running a lean government structure that would ensure operational efficiency and effectiveness in the delivery of government services.
His intent has been welcomed by former presiding member of KMA, Abraham Boydi, who says it is a waste of scarce resources to have two ministries performing the same function.
Aviation and transport. What is the difference? And for a very long time, transport for aviation is on your money. And they are teaching you money, mama, and adults. It's on also a bar, new money boa, the same as you money here, Becambo. When we say Bassa, now also more via department. So, and department has no a cost to cross for saying the ministry. Because all Konya Aviation Ministry, they also in aviation department. Now Konya the director.
The opposition National Democratic Congress claims the duplicity of functions makes the government unproductive. Ashanti Regional Communication Director Abbas Nuruddin expects President Akufo-Addo to run a lean government in the current economic hardship.
In the Akufo-Addo government, there are so many unproductive departments. There are more or less duplicity of functions. We have the Ministry of Education and the Ghana Education Service. But the government has set up a whole new bureaucracy, Free Education Secretariat, with new human resource, new logistics, to do exactly what the Ministry of Communication, the Ghana Education Service is supposed to do. There is a one district, one factory secretariat, but in the Ministry of Trade and Industry, there is an industrial development department that is supposed to do the same thing. There is the coastal belt, the southern belt, and the northern belt that have been formed to do the same things that the Ministry of Local Government is supposed to do. The Ministry of Transport has been disaggregated into 3 different ministries: the Ministry of Railways Development, the Ministry of Transport, and Ministry of Aviation. Now we have 6 ministers running this department.
According to the NDC, Alan Tremantin's comment is a clear indication the MPP has woefully failed Ghanaians. Abbas Nuruddin says Alan, who sat as a cabinet member, has no basis to lament the size of government.
Alan cannot absolve himself from the mess that the MPP government has created, because when Dr. Baumia was naming the so-called solid economic management team, Alan's name popped up. So whatever economic mess we find ourselves in, Alan is very much a part of it.
Away from politics, in most minibuses, often referred to as structure here in Ghana, the traditional method of communication between a bus conductor and a driver has been to tap the vehicle, but the clang sound produced from the beating of the conductor's palm against the vehicle door does not only irritate a number of passengers, but also presents some health threats. In his daily search of a decent job using public transport, Emmanuel Odum, an unemployed graduate, was challenged to develop the traffic technology. The prototype is aimed at improving communication between a minibus driver and his conductor using a lighting system. There's more in this report.
Well, you probably may have heard this very sound in any minibus known locally here in Ghana as trotro. This very sound is no ordinary sound, but a conventional communication between the driver and his bus conductor, known as the mate, as they offload and unload passengers on their way. The sound is produced from tapping one's palm on the metallic gate of a minibus. Although the clank sound is to the passengers' benefit, some passengers argue its intensity appears somewhat irritating and a health threat.
Me, for instance, I've been always complaining about what, even this morning, I was in a car coming from Afutoja to Atonsu, and the way the mate hit the car, I was beside him. I was shocked. So I told that guy that, in fact, they should stop doing that, because if they keep on doing that, it's going to create something unusual to anybody with having a problem with blood pressure or whatnot.
We got some that day to cry. Every cry, we okay, but only yes, I did. In fact, they did and you bang, 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 bang. A blue cry also be before, and snow beyond the flu. Too much.
Mates should learn to talk than hitting hard on the gate. It's sometimes annoying.
But are there any effects to the bus conductor constantly seeing banging hard on the gates?
For the effects, looking at your palm, I mean, you feel pain, but it wouldn't last longer, because it's not like something that you'll be doing consistently. Yeah, so the pace is there, all right, but it's not a consistent thing.
I get blisters in my palm Because of the pains, I sometimes skip work. We, the drivers, are sometimes surprised at how they hit the gate. It is sometimes unnecessary. Sometimes, some mates hit so hard on the gate for the car to stop, but nobody joins. It's a waste of time for most passengers.
The mate wants to tell the driver that let's stop, someone wants to alight.
An unemployed graduate is changing the narrative.
I'm Emmanuel Odum from Mumford, also known as Jama in the Gumor West District of Central Region. I completed University of Ghana Bachelor of Science in Agriculture in the year 2012, and I continue to have my national service in Tamale, specifically in Yankpala in the Tolon District. Afterwards, I continued to have my master's in animal science at the University for Development Studies. I completed last year, 2021, November. I was part of NAPCO. Due to the challenges of payment, I couldn't be sustained. So I had to travel down to Kumasi looking for greener pastures. They take action based on what is being told to them. Thank you.
In his daily struggles for a job in Ghana's second largest city, Kumasi, Emmanuel was struck to develop the traffic lights, a coinage from trotro and traffic.
I was inspired when I began using the trotro over many years after I've moved from Tamale to Kumasi, and through my job search from Kumasi, anytime that I am going for application and I sit in vehicle, I got the experience that trotro mates and drivers went through.
Traffic is a light signaling tool which uses switches and 3 different colored bulb system to improve driver-conductor communications.
We have the power source. This is a somewhat 2 of them which provide 3 volts to supply the lights. So, or we can also use the USB side which can be connected to the vehicle if the vehicle has USB side, or there can still be a direct connection from the traffic to the vehicle electrical system, so that it will be able to provide energy to the signal tool.
As a pressing need facing most Ghanaian developers and entrepreneurs, Emmanuel is hoping to advance his technology, but he is disadvantaged by the lack of financial support. For JoyNews, Emmanuel Bright-Kweku reporting.
In Accra in the studio, my name is Aisha Ibrahim. Let's take a break. When we return, we'll bring you business.
Hello, good afternoon. It's time to do business with me, Beverly Broom. The World Bank is warning that the Ghana cedi may continue to come under pressure this year against the dollar. This, the World Bank says, may occur if efforts are not directed at controlling the country's current account deficit to a sustainable level. The caution was captured in the World Bank's latest Global Economic Prospects report. George Riafe has more.
The World Bank in their report maintained that the development presents government an opportunity to take some extra measures to manage the current account deficit for this year. This is to ensure that things doesn't get out of hand in the coming months. The bank argued that there might be the need to institute policies that will boost exports, a move that may go a long way to check the larger current account deficit whilst controlling the larger imports. The bank believes that introducing some of these actions, together with policies aimed at checking inflation in the coming months, will help in stabilizing the economy and deal with some of these threats that would impact negatively on the local currency. The warning from the World Bank is coming at a time that the Ghana cedi has started feeling the first quarter pressure, now getting into the 12 Ghana cedi range to $1 even for some of the major commercial banks. There are fears that if Ghana is not able to secure an IMF deal by the end of the first quarter of this year or latest in the second quarter, then things might not be really good for the local currency going forward, as well as the larger economy. According to the 2023 budget, the current account deficit the first 9 months of 2022 was estimated at $1.83 billion, compared to $1.86 billion in 2021.
Now, MARULA, produced in South Africa, is a common alcoholic beverage that has gained recognition around the world. The main ingredient for the world-acclaimed beverage is the MARULA plant, which is also known as the elephant tree or the marriage tree. But did you know that the MARULA plant is a common plant found in the northern parts of Ghana? Here's Martina Bugre's report.
The MARULA plant is native to the 5 regions of the north. Over the years, the leaves and the plants have been used largely to feed animals. Even though it has great economic potential, little has been done to tap its benefit. It has remained a plant just at the community level, but countries like Burkina Faso and South Africa are exporting the fruit and its final produce. Meet Professor Felix Kofi Abagali, Project Lead and Director of the West Africa Center for Water, Irrigation and Sustainable Agriculture of the University for Development Studies, who talks about the economic and nutritional benefits of the MARULA plant.
It gives those who consume it a lot of nutrient benefits in terms of minerals, vitamins, and it has antioxidant properties, as well as also giving us some medicinal uses that we can use it for in our local communities. Aside that, there are some economic benefits which are not well explored in our part of the world, especially its use in the brewery industry, the production of what is commonly called MARULA, which is produced in South Africa and then exported widely across the globe. The seeds are actually also used in some oil extraction. That's it's used in many industrial and pharmaceutical companies. It can actually be used to support our economic growth, especially in the north. And so it is an export crop or tree product, but the less has been said about it.
He said the tree can be cultivated in large quantities and it takes just 7 years to mature.
The problem is that at first the local people didn't know the benefits of the tree, and that is why we are undertaking this climate resilience project, to be able to bring to fore the benefits of the tree and its uses in the community. And to propagate it is easily done by seed, and we are trying to see whether we can do the true cuttings in the laboratory to be able to increase the population in our society.
Wawisa UDS is currently running a project in the Kombungo district of the northern region to sustain the tree. Would government pay attention to this promising export and a tree in the northern sector? For JoyNews, Martina Bugre reporting.